Welcome back to Extreme Boltage. My name is D. Melkonian, and for the next half hour or so, we're discussing LA Chargers football. That's right, we're going to go back and debrief the 2026 season, really concentrating on the last playoff push and what really occurred in that playoffs, and what we're looking at in regards to a little bit of a debrief. Listen, fantastic season, 11-6. If you told me prior to the start of the season that we're going to win 11 games and get into the playoffs, I will buy that every day of the season. Absolutely. It was a wonderful season in regards to how we got there. Specifically the fact that this offensive line was such a detriment, and not to fault the players, it's just that we didn't have the guys, right? And we'll discuss that in a few minutes here. There's a few things I want to talk about, but number one is, look, I know we're upset about the playoff loss, especially going in and once again, 1-out. Not the best look, but going in with two of your stud tackles, not just guys, but stud tackles that were no longer in the starting lineup, obviously, and with all the injuries. What a fantastic, I just give it so much credence to Justin Herbert and that coaching staff to put it together and really amp this thing up. And that's also considering Omarion Hampton, who was gone for a bulk of the season in regards to what he was doing, right? Missed all those games with the ankle injury on one ankle, came back momentarily and injured the other ankle, and we literally had no playoff games with him. That was just, you're talking about both your tackles gone. You're talking about a center and two guards that, well, especially one guard, Mekhi Becton, just did not hold up his end of the bargain here, his weight on this. Great free agency pickup that we thought we had, didn't really perform at all what we wanted throughout the season, albeit injuries or just the lack of quality play on that right guard spot. So that was an issue. Let's go back to Bradley Bozeman. Look, I give the guy credit for really stepping up and trying to be that guy. And I think he's a smart player. It just functionally, I think he was just overmatched on a lot of these. And that was one of the biggest issues on the O-line. Played a little better than last year, but again, was not an upgrade. And that should have been addressed a little better in the offseason, prior to season. And Zion Johnson, the left tackle, look, played better than what I think he was doing last couple of years, right? But again, didn't really provide that protection, that quality protection that we needed. Again, played better. The Chargers did not pick up the fifth-year option on him, meaning he is a free agent this year. So that's what management thought of him. It's like, okay, you know what? We've seen it for 4 years. First-round draft pick, didn't really perform at that level. Look, played better. I think he got himself into a new contract this year with another team. I don't think the Chargers are signing him. But again, played the best out of that interior O-line, which, was fine, but we had a pretty lackluster O-line. Those tackle spots, Rashawn Slater, Big Joe Alt, those guys go out, and that's going to be a huge factor, which it was. And Herbert really did really a valiant effort on his part to really bring it back. And I thought the coaching staff, in regards to how they made the plays, in regards to make that offense move quicker, sometimes Herbert does hold that ball. And in certain games I was watching, I noticed a lot of the sacks were coverage sacks at times. There were some brutal, openings coming in and stunts being held on the D-line and really attacking Herbie. But sometimes there are a lot of coverage sacks that I noticed as well. So I give the O-line, I know they're much maligned this year, but I give that offensive line a little bit of credit for what they had to work with and what they had to do. They're overmatched talent-wise. They really were. And I think based on that, we got to be careful how we look at it. It's what you have going in. You can't just get O-linemen as free agency moves on in the regular season. Off season, sure, you can try to get guys, but during the season, you're very limited, and you're using your practice squad. You've got your undrafted free agency guys coming in. You're doing your scouting evaluations on who's available out there that you can pick up, which they did here and there. But I thought overall, what they had to work with was very limiting, and I thought what Herbert did was pretty fantastic to get this team. They could have easily folded. They could have easily folded and went into the tank, but I thought the offense really stepped it up when they had to. Kamani Vidal, valiant effort on his part, being the starting running back. Don't forget this year he was cut and he was placed on the practice squad. He came back, became our starting running back, and now has a foundational piece. And we'll talk about that, about the developing the running back room, and he's definitely now a part of it, along with Omarion. But they have to add more. Yeah, they have to add more, and we'll talk about that. But again, going back, Herbert, I thought, did, again, a great job throughout the year. 26 touchdowns, I believe, with 13 picks, 66% completion percentage, which is fine, right? Which is fine statistically looking at it. But I thought what you're looking at beyond the scoreboard, beyond the box scores, is his leadership and what he brought to the team on a daily basis. I mean, he stepped up every Sunday, and you had a great, and watching him live and on TV, but especially when you're watching him live, he is an incredibly special quarterback, and I think he's a top 5 back in the NFL, easily, and he has a chance to be one of the best, if not the best, the next few years. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy is, and don't take my word for it. There's some amazing podcasts out there, there's shows out there, and people have that unbiased version of him, and the people that know football will see it. I mean, he is an incredible thrower of the football. He does a great job of analyzing and seeing the field. And yeah, are there mistakes? Absolutely. Are there times where you wish he'd slide, or I wish he would just take the bad play and move on instead of trying to do a little bit too much? No, absolutely. And that's going to be the case with quarterbacks, especially younger guys, and especially guys that are gunslingers and people that want to make plays. And that's okay. The best one I can compare with that is Brett Favre, major gunslinger, had a lot of picks, but made some amazing plays. Just got to be careful. And I think he, again, 26 and 13 this year. Again, he's doubled up his interceptions or his turnovers. That's big. You want him in the 30s and plus for the touchdowns. Absolutely, we all do. And this year, by the way, great rushing as well. Had some great rushing performances throughout the year. I thought the coaching staff really gave him carte blanche to do that this year, which was nice. And I'll try to get you some rushing aspects of it as well. But I did think that Justin really opened up his legs this year, which was fantastic. As a matter of fact, looking at it, he had a long of a 41-yard carry this year. And looking at that, he was able to move in regards to what he's doing. He had 83 attempts rushing for 500 yards, actually 498. So just at 500 with 2 touchdowns. That's pretty fantastic, right? That's pretty fantastic. And you develop that. And now with the addition of Mike McDaniel, and we'll discuss that here in a little bit, I think that just opens up a little more. Again, you got 500 yards out of him this year on 83 carries. I think that's going to develop more. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes as we go. But again, that was the fall. Okay, that was the playoff was great, but going into that New England game, had a great shot to win that game, but the offense was just at a stalemate with that defense. They couldn't handle that New England front, and I think it gave them a lot of problems. You saw the big hits on Herbert, and another thing that occurred is I've noticed in that game specifically, the receivers were locked up. You did not see open receivers, and because of that, I thought you saw a lot more sacks coming in, a lot more pressure coming in. That New England front just put a lot of pressure through the middle and on the ends. So it came at them, and the O-line was not able to contain that lack of running game. Again, Kamani, great job throughout the season, just did not have it for that postseason. Did not have that dominance whatsoever at that point, and that's also part of the offensive line. That's a huge aspect of it. And I thought for the fact that the running game was absent, the fact that Herbert had a lot of pressure on him quickly, and the biggest factor I thought is the fact that receivers were not getting open and did not have any type of passing efficiency going on that. And once that happens, you're curtailed. You're stuck. The defense, I got to tell you, got to talk about that defense. Fantastic defense throughout the year. And you remember they started up really hot and heavy just against Kansas City and just kind of blew it up from the game one. But as injuries happen, Khalil Mack had that elbow injury and so forth, and luckily he came back. Guys were going down a little bit, right? Which happens throughout the season. But the Chargers had a bit of a lull, but came back strong, and talk about their turnover ratio and just the way their tenacity, man. The corners playing well with Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still, and the safeties out there. Obviously, Derwin is a star, but you've got these guys coming up and doing R.J. Mickens, and you got Tony Jefferson, the veteran. Just these guys played fantastically, and I thought that was a great secondary effort. So that was nice to see. D-line wise, they're putting a lot of pressure on there. Tully came into his own, obviously the last couple of years coming to his own, but really, really showing the dominance of what he's doing. Khalil Mack, just a ageless wonder. So really, really good stuff on that end. I thought great rotational pieces. Tier Tart, which they recently signed to a new contract, I believe a 4-year contract, he was just given and rewarded here at the end of the season. Just fantastic. Great to see it. Well deserved on it as well, so that's going to be some good stuff. They've got a lot of cap money. We'll discuss that here in a little bit, but they've got guys to sign, and they're definitely going to go shopping for other people as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's all going to work out. But again, breaking it down, I thought it was really well done on the defensive effort. That really kept them into a lot of games, and that was a great piece of the pie this season. Of course, Jesse Minter. Right, it was going to happen, and it did. He goes off to the Ravens as the new head coach, and yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a factor for us, right? But let's see how that's going to work out, and I'm excited to see how that's going to transition over. But yes, that's a huge thing. You're losing your defensive coordinator at that time where you're at the peak of the hill here, so that's going to be a huge one to go with. So what are we looking at here for the 2026 season? Well, we're looking at upgrading at all times, especially the offensive line. You're looking at really jumping into that draft class and really looking at, it's a great draft class this year and all over the place. I mean, it's not just one position or the other. They've got some fantastic depth and great talent coming out this year. So if you want to go ahead and grab your interior offensive lineman, your center, what have you, that's great. You can do that. You want to go to free agency. You can do that and grab a center from there. Great a step, and I think it's a combination thereof. It's getting that free agency piece, getting a solid stud piece on your offensive line hooked up. Great, let's say it's the center, and then going into the draft and getting those offensive guard pieces. Maybe going back to the free agency on the second or third tier and pick up some other guards you need. You've got your tackles coming back. You want to make sure you upgrade and add additional tackle pieces and guard pieces, especially swing tackle. That's going to be crucial because you're going to lose that this year, right? So you want to make sure you get those tackle pieces going as well. So that's going to be, I'm looking at least 10 quality offensive linemen on the roster this year, right? Guys are going to go down. Hopefully not for the long term, but guys are going to go down. And that's the situation. You're going to have guys coming in. And again, they did a valiant effort this year trying to keep it going on that O-line, but it's like every team. They're going to have to get through it, and the better depth of talent, the better it's going to be. So that's on Joe Ortiz to really ensure that this off-season is addressed properly. Not to say last year it wasn't, but going in, there were question marks on that O-line, especially on that interior offensive line. And I didn't feel as though it was addressed. Mekhi Becton was exciting to get that piece in there, but unfortunately just did not pan out, did not play at all to the level of what we were expecting Mekhi Becton to play. And there were concerns on that offensive line going in, obviously, and I don't think it was addressed, right? Not as much. Again, the Mekhi Becton signing was exciting, but did not pan out, did not play at all nearly what he did in Philadelphia as one of the key cogs. So unfortunately, that was a problem. We missed on that, and it happens. I would have done the same thing. I would have gone out and got Mekhi Becton. We thought he was one of the biggest guards, literally, to get, and unfortunately didn't pan out. And they'll save the money on him. They'll go ahead and release him this year, which is a smart thing to do. Make some get that cap hit removed and actually add some more funds, including Bradley Bozeman. They can release Bradley as well and get some funding back to the salary cap for them as well. It's easy dead money. It's going to be limited dead money. So I don't think Zion is going to stay, obviously. So I think you got three big pieces to fill. So yeah, free agency, that's going to be your haul. Let's go ahead and let's focus on the interior offensive line draft wise for sure. Look, it might not be a first round draft pick, and don't stress it. You get the guys when you get the guys. If you got another receiver in the first round, that's awesome. Look, you grab them. It's just the way the draft works. If you're drafting for need, and look, I know people always say draft best player. Of course, you can draft the best player, but there's going to be need issues as well. I mean, quarterbacks automatically go to the first few picks of the draft, if not the first, second, third, because that's how it works. Quarterbacks, you need a quarterback. Doesn't mean he's the best guy on the draft board, but that's what you need. So you're going to go to elevate them. You just don't want to do that because you're desperate to get a talent that you can get later on. So if you got a stud hanging out there as a receiver or tight end or a defensive back, corners are fantastic to get, right? Safeties, you need them. You're going to grab them, and you can come back and try to trade up and work yourself back to the draft board to get another guy that you need. But if it's a great center you want or a fantastic offensive lineman somewhere interior, you're going to grab that guy. So that's how it's going to work on that end, probably. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be fun to see it. This Mike McDaniel thing, I'm excited about that. I thought just going into this new offseason here, starting in a couple weeks, that's the most exciting news that I received. I think that Mike McDaniel hire, look, I could be wrong, but that's going to be huge. I think, yes, as an NFL head coach, quirky guy, right? Quirky guy, and maybe he had some leadership issues. Just watching him from, the training camp, shows and so forth. You kind of see it. It might not be your style, not really my style either. Of maybe what a head coach kind of does. But this guy is extremely smart offensively, fantastic. His time with the Niners was really crucial. They had one of the best running games at that time. Great passing game as well. Takes that to Miami. Don't forget, man, 2023, they were lighting it up and blowing it up. I mean, I saw that game when they came down to SoFi, I believe it was 23, and they just lit up that scoreboard, and beat the Chargers that day. That was very impressive. And they did it with Tua, and I don't want to knock the quarterback, but ours is much better. And he's doing that with Tua. He gave him all those toys there. Tyreek Hill at the time, obviously, and we'll talk about that here in regards to maybe player personnel coming in at Chargers. But man, he knows how to run an offense, and he's not one-dimensional. He's not a run guy. He's not just a pass guy. He does a lot. So I think his style, and it's so funny because he's such a quirky guy. Then we got our head coach, and he's a quirky guy. So put Jim together with Mike, and you've got some interesting characters on that field. It won't be boring. But hey, if they can coexist, which is fantastic, right? Let's do it. I think you're getting, and that's what Jim was saying, right? Coach is saying, we want to get a guy on offense who's the head coach on offense. You got one. You literally have a head coach, and he's on offense. So I love it. And it's only going to be a one-year shot probably, which is fine. I'll take the 1 year, hopefully get a ring out of it and move on, right? Not a big deal. But I think, Mike McDaniel, I think he's only good for 1 or 2 years, and he's going to get another head coaching gig. It's just going to happen. Somebody's going to grab that. He's just too much of an offensive asset not to grab. And just lucky, I think, that we got him. And I'm hoping that I think that's really going to change up the offense. Because, watching Roman's offense this year sometimes gets frustrating, right? He wasn't completely run heavy like we thought it was going to be. So that was good in that aspect, that it wasn't one-dimensional. We tried. Were there plays that you look back and kind of bewildered on? Yeah, there's some play action stuff that you're doing that you really don't need at certain times. That was kind of different. There's some times where you're taking a little too long on these passing routes to go through when there's not that much time to be had. So I'm talking about a quicker passing game, especially for Herbert. He loves to hold on, which creates big plays downfield, absolutely. But you're also getting targeted and getting demolished and hit, especially not without a good O-line. So I do want to see a faster passing game, right? And I think McDaniel was talking about that when he was speaking at his press conference. I think that's one of the things he's trying to bring. But I think it's going to be very imaginative. I think it's wide open. That's the great thing about it. I think he's one of those guys that can game design on a weekly basis and bring out what you need. You got a quarterback like Herbert, man, and you got some great looking receivers. You still got Ladd McConkey there. You got Quentin going on. You got now Trey Ayers. Now these guys are coming in hot and heavy. Just one more year with these guys, and I think as seasoned veterans, and that's crucial. Now, what are they going to add? With Mike McDaniel, might be interesting. A couple of rumors out there in regards to maybe Tyreek Hill, getting out of that contract and coming down here this year, right? I believe a free agent. So that's an issue. That could be a great ad. Yeah, was he injured pretty badly last year? Yes, he was. Is his speed the same? I don't know. I don't think one of us knows. But you get a 90% Tyreek Hill, you're still kicking some ass as a receiver, and he's pretty fancy. It's not just speed with Tyreek. He is a great receiver. At least he was. And if it's something the Chargers can afford and bring him in, and they think he is going to provide that extra dimension, which Tyreek Hill can, healthy, pretty awesome to watch. Brandon Ayuk is another name. I think really respects Mike, and I think, look, Brandon has had issues here breaking up with the Niners. Not a good look on his part, quite honestly, the way it came out. But if we're able to get Brandon, especially he's going to get probably released with that whole contract issue. It's not happening. No one's going to trade for that contract, especially coming off an ACL. So I don't think that's happening at all. He gets released. Now he's a free agent. He's going to look to go somewhere comfortable, right? Money is big, but I think comparable, you're looking at a lower payday for anywhere he goes, just because it's a prove-it deal, probably just a 1 or 2 year deal, most probably one. And that's fine. You do that, you bring him in, and you see what he's got with it. But you've got guys like Brandon coming in and Tyreek coming in, adding in to this receiver room, which is already led by Ladd McConkey, right? Which already have Quentin Johnston, like we talked about, Trey Harris, up and coming third receiver. That's a great threesome. And now you add these guys, these veterans coming in. That's pretty awesome, right? And don't forget, Keenan Allen wants to come back this year. So it's a cap-friendly number, and because he did it. He went outside of LA and he saw what it was out there, right? Unless he goes to the Rams and wants to stay in LA and wants to be a Ram. That's great. I get it. But I think he wants to be comfortable with the Chargers, and I think for the number he's looking for, I think that's doable. Will the Chargers do it? I don't know. It just depends. If they go after Brandon Ayuk or like we talked about, or Tyreek Hill, then maybe it's not going to be that situation, even though Keenan had a fantastic season this year with the Chargers. But yeah, interesting to see what happens on there. That's going to be interesting. For running backs, Najee, man, I was so excited about Najee Harris coming in and just doing his thing, and that Achilles injury he suffered at SoFi, that was devastating. Just the beginning of the year, and just kind of went out like that. That just really, really, really hurt the Chargers offense. But again, Kamani just stepped up so well and played so well. But you need that other running back, right? So that could be a free agency back coming in. That could be a drafted running back coming in. But it's a Marion's team. Kamani will be there with him as well. But you need that third and fourth running back. Definitely number 3. A stud 3 coming in. You just need it. You just need that guy, because guys will go down. And you saw what happens. I mean, these running backs, man, I mean, you can get these guys in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, and they're very serviceable running backs. So, I mean, you don't need a high draft commodity to get stud guys. So that's big to get. So I think that's going to be crucial in the draft portion as well. So look, tight end isn't done yet either. I know our rookie tight end Gatson did a great job this year, but he's more of a receiving tight end. He's an extra receiver out there. He does a great job. He's a big guy, but you need that stud tight ends. Let me tell you who I'm talking about. I love the LA Rams tight ends. Look how strong they are, in and out. They're just Cody Parkinson, right? Just look what a stud tight end can do for you, and not just going out and catching passes, but being that guy on the line as well that can make that block. So I think getting that extra piece of tight end is really crucial. I think we didn't have much after Gatson this year, and that was seen. You can see that their threat was not there. And again, for the kind of running game they want to establish here, that's going to be kind of crucial. Now, I want to go to the Super Bowl for a minute and discuss what I saw with the Seahawks. This Seahawks team is important to look at, because that's what I think the Chargers are going to be. and they're not that far away at all. This Seahawks team has an amazing defense, right? Amazing defense, especially at front line. Just really put it together this year. That such pressure they put on these quarterbacks. Just great games against some tough opponents. But you saw that defense work itself through and keep them in every game imaginable, right? That was crucial. I think that's the Chargers defense as well. D-line has to get improved, but you just need more interior defensive linemen like the T.R. Tarts of the world, right, to make that happen. Caldwell did a great job this year on the D-line as a rookie, so fantastic work on his part. But no, you're going to have to add a lot, because once you have that interior pass rush coming at you, edges are great. You definitely need edges, but man, we've seen it before. You can have some super fast edge guys coming in, but if you remember the Patriots game a while back, when we're against Brady, when we're coming in like that, he's going to pick and choose and who he's going to throw to, because you can make it a fast passing game. But if you've got that deep pressure coming in from the front, your running game now is going to be problematic, and your passing game is going to get wiped out, because now the quarterback cannot punch in and push into that front pocket and step into that front pocket. And as the pressure is getting onto him, it will not be a clear lane coming up front, pushing in and throwing the ball downfield, because he's going to have a big nose tackle or a three technique guy coming at him from the A gap or B gap closing up. So that's what's going to be important. That's what Seattle had or has, and really helped them take care of the Super Bowl the way they did, dominating performance, and not just throughout that, but throughout the playoffs and their season this year. I mean, Seattle just brought that defense that really made it special. Chargers are very close to that. Look how great their defense is being played. I add a few guys, free agency, draft, keep building what you guys have right now, and yes, that can be a suffocating a defense, much like the Seahawks that won the championship this year. So that's number one. Number two, the running game. Right, you need to have a strong running game. Again, what you're building is not for September through November. You're building for December, January, and February, obviously. So you want to build a team that might not be sexy, scoring 40-plus points a week and looking fantastic on artificial turf and just running through people like a track and field game, right? That's fun. Everybody wants that as an offense, sure. But those guys sometimes are not there in the Januaries of the world. And that last first week in February, it will probably not be there, because elements come in. Defenses tighten up. The weather makes a huge factor. And at that point, you need a strong defense, and you need a viable, consistent running game with horses. And if you have that, you're doing really well. You add that element of an offensive line that can dominate and protect. An average quarterback is going to have a really good day, let alone a Justin Herbert with a strong receiving core. You put that in as well, and now you got a huge facet of it, and that's going to be crucial. And that's going to be an interesting way to go with it as well. So, look, they're not far away at all. I'm just telling you, this 11-win season was fantastic to begin. Obviously, disappointing in the playoffs, but for what they dealt with, the adversity they had to deal with this year, again, a tip of the hat to them, because they really pulled through it. And yeah, we would wish another game or two would have been great in the playoffs, but it would not have been a championship season with the problems they were having on that O-line. It was just not going to work. So believe it or not, we're only a few weeks away from the actual combine in Indianapolis, and we're going to start seeing a lot of the talent going out there and seeing what these guys look like, and get a better idea of what our draft picture looks like, as well as our free agency picture, right? That's such a crucial part of it, and that's only a month away from the beginning of the free agency period. So a lot of good stuff coming up. We're hoping to get back to you guys and discuss this as we do our team building for 2026 and looking into the draft and the free agency pool. Also, thank you, Kevin McLeod, for Strength of the Titans and the Ice Giants for our music today. Appreciate you guys for listening. This is Extreme Boltage. My name is D. Melconian. Bolt up. We'll catch you next time.